Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone and welcome for today's discussion. And welcome to all the participants, those who are joining online. So today we are going to discuss the sixth chapter, Sankhya Yoga, which is going to be a little complex than what we discussed so far. And then we might be wondering like why Krishna is explaining such a complex thing here. So there is a reason that we'll understand that why Krishna is explaining all these complex things, what we'll be discussing in. So before we start, let's start with the prayer. So I request everyone to join me in chanting the prayers. Fold your hands and chant along with me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyad Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So the chapter 6, this is the last chapter of the first section of Bhagavad Gita. So if you remember in the very beginning, the introduction, we talked about the entire Bhagavad Gita. The 18th chapter can be divided into 3 sections. First 6, middle 6, and the last 6. So the first 6 chapters, they talks about the Karma Yoga. And the last 6 chapters talk about the Jnana Yoga. And the comparison is given it like a sandwich, right? So the bread on the top and the bread on the bottom, but the real stuff in the middle, right? Whatever you put the jam or whatever stuffing. So that real stuff is the middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12, which talks about the Bhakti Yoga, which is the prime message of Bhagavad Gita. So what we have been discussing so far is Karma Yoga, and we discussed in the detail. The 3rd chapter we discussed, and then Arjuna was still confused, and he again raised the doubt about what I should do, whether I should renounce or I should continue to work. And then in response, Krishna explains the entire 5th chapter, which is again Karma Yoga, but he explained more deeply. All right. And then he explains the concept of 3 doers to make us understand that, sometimes people can become puffed up. Oh, I did it. I'm so special. But we should understand that we play a small part. The Lord has to sanction to get the results, and then material nature has to provide you the facilities. And then Krishna explained about the peace formula. But just before the peace formula, which is the last verse of chapter 5.29, Bhoktaram Yagatapsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Swardam Sarvabhutam. And then Krishna touched on another important item that so far he did not discuss only, which is Ashtanga Yoga. 5.27 and 28. He talked about a little bit, gave the glimpse of Ashtanga Yoga. Now, what is this Ashtanga Yoga? So, Yoga means we all understand. So far, we understood already. Yoga means the process to connect to the Supreme Lord. So, there is a Karma Yoga, there is Jnana Yoga, there is Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So far, we have been discussing about the Karma Yoga. Krishna gave the glimpse of Ashtanga Yoga. Now, this Ashtanga Yoga, we'll be discussing in detail what is this Ashtanga Yoga, but actually it is very, very complex. Now, question. Before we start discussing, we should understand that why we have to discuss this. What is the intention of Krishna to explain such a complex process? So the idea is Krishna wants to bring this concept to make us realize that the impracticality of this process. This process is not going to work for people like us. So sometimes if he doesn't explain something, and we might say, oh, there is Ashtanga Yoga also. Probably that is better than Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna wants to give some glimpse that Ashtanga Yoga is also another bona fide process, but it is not going to work for people like us. And we'll see that how Arjuna raised the questions. Okay, so let us start with this. So the whole chapter can be explained with this acronym, which is easy, though the chapter is not easy, but acronym is easy. So what is the easy thing? E stand for, he talks about enemy or friend, initial 9 verses. Then he talks about Ashtanga Yoga in detail, the different stages of Ashtanga Yoga, how to practice, the realization of Ashtanga Yogis and all of those details. And then he talks about success or failure. And finally, he talks about who is a real yogi or topmost yogi. So this is easy. And it is easy to remember at least in the acronym. Okay. So the first chapter, let us talk about enemy or friend, first 9 verses. So the chapter begins like this. Krishna is explaining. Sri Bhagavana Vacha Anashrita Karma Phalam Garyam Karma Karotiya Sa Sanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragni Na Cha Kriya. It says, the Blessed Lord said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Does it make sense? It will make sense. So what Krishna is saying here is, so if you remember in the 5th chapter, actually Krishna was saying that yogi is better than the sannyasi. But now he is bringing another concept. What he is saying, that says sannyasi cha yogi cha. He is a sannyasi also or yogi also. Who is that person? Who is as good as sannyasi, as good as yogi? Okay, so he's saying the person who is anashrit karma phalam, one who does not take pleasure in the fruits of his work. Anashrit does not take the ashray, shelter of karma phalam. Whatever work he does, he doesn't care about the results. So means the person who works to offer the results to Krishna, he doesn't really care to enjoy the results. So that person, karyam karma karotiya, he still does the work, but he is not dependent on the fruits of his work. That person is sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. Right? He is the sannyasi and he is the yogi. Na niragnir na chakriya. Not the person who does not light fire. What is this lighting fire means? So basically, anyone who takes the sannyas, like say for example, somebody is a householder, right? So householder means the grasta life they're living, and then they decide to take the sannyas, to renounce everything. So for grastas, there's a lot of rules and regulations. They had to perform some Agni Hotra Yagya. They say, no, now I am going to be a sannyasi. I'll renounce everything. I'll not perform any yagya. So by not performing all those yagya, I am a sannyasi. I'm a renounced person. But that is not the right understanding. He is not a true sannyasi. It looks like he gave up all his activities and he's a sannyasi. But Krishna is saying he is not a sannyasi. Na niragnir na chakriya. Who's not doing anything. He is not performing the yagya. He is not a sannyasi. Who is a sannyasi is anashrita karma phalam. So this is the exact definition, the right and bona fide explanation, the definition of who is a sannyasi. Sannyasi means he continue to do the work, his obligated duties. Karyam karma karotiya. He does his work, but he doesn't take pleasure in the fruits of the results. Then for what he does the work? Anybody remembers? Why somebody does the work? We discussed in the 5th chapter. Yes. Yeah. So 5.11 for your reference. Atma Shuddhaye, for the purpose of self-purification. So he'll still continue to do the work, but he doesn't care about the results. So he does the work for his own purification, and whatever results comes, he offers in the service of Krishna. So this artificially renouncing the things, this is the biggest misconception again and again we are discussing, so that it drills down in our head. Because people think spiritual life means I have to renounce everything. I cannot take care of my family, I cannot do my work, my business, no money. No, that is not the understanding. Understanding is this. That you do work, karyam karma karoti, continue to do the work. But anashrita karma phalam. Don't take pleasure in the fruits, offer the fruits to the Supreme Lord. Because this very conception itself, that I'll renounce something, is a misconception. What you will renounce? Because nothing belongs to us. So a householder will say, oh, I'll renounce my house and I'll go to the jungle, as if jungle belongs to him. Right? You renounced one thing and you are going in another place. You're changing the stay. Right? So how you are renounced? You might not be eating in the house, but you might be eating in the jungle from the trees, some berries and all that. So how you can be renounced? So actually one cannot be renounced. So real renouncement is this. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti. Continue to do the work and offer the result in the service of Krishna. And that is what is the true understanding of sannyasa. And our acharyas, the Goswamis, they explains what is the two kinds of sannyas or vairagya or renouncement. One is called the yukta vairagya and another is called the falgu vairagya. Falgu means it's a fake vairagya. So last time also we were discussing what is fake vairagya. People go to the samshan, the cremation ground, and they see something, somebody is dying and all, rich person. And then suddenly there's a lot of vairagya comes. They say, hey, what is this? That is the end of the life. I worked hard. This person worked hard, earned a lot of money, a lot of power, position, reputation, and now they're putting into the fire. If that is the end of the life, then I don't want to do all that. So that is called the samshan vairagya. Right? It remains there only. As soon as you come out, that vairagya also comes out. Right? So that is called the falgu vairagya. What is the real vairagya? The Acharya explains. Yukta vairagya. What is the definition of yukta vairagya? Rupa Goswami gives the definition. He says, similar to this. Anasakta vishayan yatarham upyunjida nirbandhe krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. That is the definition. Anasakta vishayan. You remain unattached to all the vishayan. Vishayan means all the objects. And then nirbandhe krishna sambandhe. For your personal sense gratification, you are detached. But still, you see that everything has its connection with Krishna. So you continue to use everything for the service of Krishna. Nirbandhe krishna sambandhe. So that is the true vairagya, right? So that is our understanding. And karyam karma karoti hai. We continue to do the work. And what is that work? Work is for the satisfaction of the Lord, for the cause of the Lord, right? And for our personal interest, we remain detached. Like the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his personal examples, he teaches us through his Sikshastakam, he says, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, na kavitam, va jagadisha kamai. Mam janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir hetu gitvai. So what he says, I don't want dhanam, no wealth, na janam, no fan following, because that is also a trap. How many followers, how many likes, how many comments. This is the modern trap for the modern generation, right? So na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, no attraction toward the opposite sex. And na kavitam. Kavitam means glorification, that people should glorify me, should talk about my special qualities. No. And what do you want? Do you want moksha? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes one step further. He said, I don't want moksha also. People think, okay, you don't want all of those things of this material world. Probably you might be aspiring for the moksha, liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't want the liberation also. And what do you want? That is interesting. Right? That is the epitome of the, this understanding of vairagya. So he says, Mam janmani janmanishware. If, oh my dear Lord, if you want to put me into again and again into the birth and death, the cycle of birth and death, I'm okay. I'm not even asking that you should release me from the cycle of birth and death. But what I want is, Bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki toi. I want your seva. I want your bhakti. So you give me many, many life also in this world. But just make sure that you give me the opportunity to serve you, to do your bhakti, to do your seva. And then I'm okay. So that is the understanding. Because, say, this concept is very important to understand. There's other yogis, like if we talk about, this is about the bhakti yogi, what I quoted. And bhakti yogi only aspire for the seva of the Lord, nothing else. But if we talk about the Jnana yogis, so Jnana yogis, what they do, they read the scriptures very scrutinizingly. They'll come to the conclusion, this material world is not going to satisfy me. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So I should come out from this. Okay, so they aspire, okay, I don't want this, I don't want that. What I want is, I'll go and merge into the Brahman. So that is also another desire. I want to become one with the Lord. And Prabhupada says, that is even dangerous desire. Because becoming one with the Lord is not something one should aspire. So this very conception, people think, oh, we will become God or will become one with God. This is the biggest misconception in the society. People think the perfection is will become one with the Lord. So Prabhupada said that is also another nonsense desire. So Jnani get into the trap of that. And then there is mystic yogis, the Ashtanga yogis. So what they do, they understand all this material world is fake, not interested, but I should do a lot of tapasya, a lot of meditation, Ashtanga yoga practice, and then by which I'll get some mystic powers. And those mystic powers has been explained like Ashtasiddhi. There are 8 different kind of powers. Anima, Lagima, like that. So somebody get those powers like Anima Siddhi means you become smaller than, like you become like atom. So you can sneak under the door, you go in the bank under the door and loot something and from inside open the door and come out. You can do that. Power. Lagima is like you become very lightweight. So sometimes you will see some yogis, they will show some, magic. What magic? They'll walk on the water. Why? Because they have the Lagima Siddhi. These things are all possible. Right? And it is very fascinating also. Like somebody, the Prabhupada gives this story, like one person, in his young age, he left his house in the village. And after many, many years, he came back to the village and everybody was, oh, this is the person. He actually revealed his identity that I am the person. And he says, where were you all that time? He says, I was doing a lot of tapasya, a lot of meditation, and I got some powers. Now I'll show you what are my powers. Right? So in that village, there is a river. So he says, I can cross this river just by walking on this thing from this side to that side. Nobody believed. And then he showed. He actually literally walked on the water. And everybody was amazed. Oh, wow, such a powerful person. Now you are. One intelligent person was there. He says, you went for 25 years, do all this tapasya just to cross the river. I can spend some 50 paisa, I can cross the river. What is the gain? See, this is the trap. So Anima, Lagima, Mahima, Siddhi, and like that Vashita. Vashita Siddhi is like you can control the person. Or like hypnotism and all that. Right? Somebody is perfected in the hypnotism, then I'll tell you what to do and you will do everything. So I can control the people. These are all siddhis. So sometime all these some sadhus and some babas, they have those siddhis. They can control the whole crowd. You will see like, thousands and thousands of people sitting in the crowd and they will tell and they will follow. So like that. So this is the trap for the Ashtanga yogis. So you see, Gyanis, they want to merge with the Lord. Ashtanga yogi, they want the Ashtasiddhis. But what the Bhakti yogi want? He doesn't want anything. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, na kavitam, no glorification. What I want is Bhaktad Bhakti Rahetu Gitu. I want your Bhakti. I want your seva. Right? So that person is already renounced. He's the greatest sannyasi. He doesn't want anything, but still he wants something. He wants seva to Krishna. So that is the true meaning of sannyasa. So it begins like that. So this example can be given like the cashier in the bank. He cannot accept the cash for his personal interest. He cannot deny to accept the cash also. He said, no, I am a sannyasi, so I will not take the cash. You cannot. You will be in trouble. So the right person is Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandha. You take and use it for the bank. Don't keep in your pocket. So whatever this material world offers, some money, power, position, name, fame, take everything and use in the service of the Lord. So either don't, so it is, you are not accepting also or you are not denying also. So this is Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandha. This is the understanding. Okay. So this is what we already discussed. So yoga is detached action and the renunciation. They both are the same thing. So basically what Krishna is saying, that don't renounce the things artificially. You keep doing your work. But how to do the work? Learn the art. It's called the Nishkam Karma Yoga. Do your duties, but Nishkam. Now question can be, how long I have to continue to do this Nishkam Karma Yoga? Throughout my life I'll be doing this only. So Krishna will explain in the third chapters. Okay, so this is about the Ashtanga Yoga we're talking about. So there is the 8 steps: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi. So it's a very, very complex process. So nowadays you will see that nowadays people talk about I'm a yoga guru. And so many yoga gurus have sprung up in last few decades. Everywhere, every street and all kinds of fashionable and fascinating yoga processes. Beer yoga, one hand you hold the beer bottle and another hand they'll teach you the yoga. So these are all, it's a mock of the yoga process. It's a joke. They made joke out of yoga. Yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord. And what people talk about all this asana and pranayam, this is 1 or 2 steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. There's 8 steps. In that asana and pranayam is 3rd and the 4th step. We are not getting into the detail how to do that. But that itself is not the complete yoga system. So sometimes people say, oh, we do the yoga. You're not doing the yoga. You're doing some breathing exercises only, just to keep your body fit. That's all. It has nothing to do with the yoga. Yoga means connection with the Supreme Lord. So you're nowhere connected to the Supreme Lord. Okay. So now, question is, how long he has to continue this Nishkam Karma Yoga? So Krishna explains in the 3rd and 4th verse that there are 2 different levels of yoga. Okay. So technically, the one level is called the Yoga Ruksha stage and another is called the Yoga Ruda stage. So Yoga Ruksha means the beginning of the yoga process. Like if you see, the yoga is like a ladder. So the first step of the ladder is like yoga ruksha, the beginning stage of that. So in the beginning stage, it is said, in the beginning stage, you are not purified enough from your desires. Still you have the desire. So continue to do the work. But how to do the work? Nishkam Karma Yoga. Don't give up the work. We discussed already, right? In the past. It's just like a person who is hungry and you artificially, I'll not eat anything. I'm a renounce now. So point is, if you're hungry, better you eat. If you don't eat the healthy food, you'll end up eating some junk food, which might be very tasty and palatable, but it will create some health issues in the due course. So learn to eat the healthy food. So what Krishna is saying, in the beginning stage, you are not at that level of complete purification of mind, then you continue to do the work, but do the work in a healthy way, which is Nishkam Karma Yoga, Anashrita Karma Phala. And by doing that, there will be sufficient self-purification will happen. Yoga Atma Suddhaya. You will become purified in the heart. Once you reach the stage of purification, then what happens? You give up the work also. Possible. But don't do artificially. So now go back to the third chapter. Arjuna was saying that I don't want to do all this. Krishna says, yes, you may be at that level of renouncing the world, but don't do this. Because you will be setting a bad example for others. Because everybody may not be in that level of complete detachment. So when you are not at that level of purification, then continue to do the work. And that Nishkam Karma Yoga will purify you in the due course. And once you reach that stage, then you give up the whole work itself, go to the forest and sit in the meditation. That is Jnana Yoga. And then Jnana is also when they realize Supreme Lord, Vishnu and all of that, then they start meditating on the Supreme Lord. That becomes Ashtanga Yoga. So you see how the gradual purification happens. So there are two stages. So Yoga Ruksha is beginning, Yoga Rudha is later stage. Okay. Now a very important point comes here to understand. While doing all this practice and all that, one very important role play, which is our mind. So Krishna says in all this process of Ashtanga Yoga, your mind plays a very key role. So Krishna talks about the mind. Let us just see this, what Krishna says. Okay. So he is saying already here, the fifth verse. Uddaret Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet. Atmeva hi Atmano Bandhur, Atmeva Ripuratmana. A man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. If mind is engaged in the sense gratification, Indriya Bhog, it will cause the bondage. Same mind, if you train well, and if mind is engaged in serving the Lord, mind will liberate you. So it acts as your friend also. It can act your enemy also. So when your mind is your friend and when it is enemy, Krishna explains in the next verse. Bandhur atmanastasya yenatme vatmanajitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmeva shatruvat. So he says, it is bandhu. Bandhu means it is your friend when you conquer the mind. When your mind is controlled, it is your best friend. And if it is not controlled, this is your worst enemy. So we identify a lot of enemies outside. Oh, this person is my enemy, that person is my enemy. Krishna is saying, who is your greatest enemy? Your uncontrolled mind is your greatest enemy. Because enemy what does? What the enemy does? Enemy's only and only goal is how to torture you, how to create trouble for you. It captures you, plunders your riches, and when you get the opportunity, it will kill you. Exactly the mind does when it is uncontrolled. It captures us. Mind is the one who makes us to believe that I am this body and the goal of life is bodily comforts. Captured. You are captured already. Your intelligence is captured. You think I am the body and the goal of life is make money, make big house, big car, big this thing, big that thing, big comforts. Right? You're captured. And then it plunders, looting you. Looting means whatever you have the wealth. So what is the wealth in this human form of life? This human form of life itself is a big wealth. And then you have some time in this. We don't know how much time we have. Mind, your enemy, uncontrolled mind, is taking away all your time. So this enemy is telling, do this, do this, do this, do this, because it captured you already. Plundering. Bring all your money, bring all your jewel, and all of that. So what is the enemy? Enemy is telling, do this, do this, do this, do this, because it captured you already. Plundering. Bring all your money, bring all your jewel, and all of that. So what is the enemy telling? Bring all your money, bring all your jewel, and all of that. So it is taking all your time away. You're looted, and the right time will come, kill you. It kills us. So Krishna is saying we should learn the art and how to control the mind. So that is I will talk about that. So it has been explained that this body is like a chariot. So in the body of chariot, we'll talk about that. It'll come a little later. Okay. So Krishna says this control of mind is very, very important. And we'll learn that how to control the mind. This is a big subject, that art of mind control. It is very easily given in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So somebody who is already on the advanced stage of the yoga, Ashtanga yoga, what are the symptoms? A lot of symptoms here. So I'll just read out few and just mention few. Like he already has a controlled mind, tranquility, and then completely approach the super soul. Let me just read out these verses. The nice verses 7, 8, and 9. Says, Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahita sitoshna sukha dukkheshu tata man apamanayo. That person is equal in Sit and Ushna, heat and cold, Man and Apman, honor and dishonor, Sukha and Dukh. He is equal. He doesn't really, nothing bothers him. Okay? And then he says, Jnana Vijnana Tatma Kudasto Vijitendriya Yukta iti Uchchata Yogi Sama Lostrasma Kanchana. So the person who is advanced, he sees everything equal. Sama Lost Astra Kanchana. The pebbles, stone, or gold, everything is equal. Is it possible for us? That I'll throw some stone on you, you will throw it back on me. I throw some gold, you say, thank you, Guruji. If it hits your head also, still you thank me. Because we understand the value, right? But the advanced yogi is not like that. Because he says there's no value of these material things for him. He's already beyond all those materialistic stuff. He is situated in the transcendence. So like that, all these symptoms of advanced yogi have been explained. Says yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthita ekaki yada jittatma nirashir aparigraha. So he should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. So that is the stage of advanced yogi. Okay, now question comes, how to practice this advanced Ashtanga yoga system? Krishna explains. Very interesting. We should all try to practice this. Let us just read this first, and you'll give the hope of doing this. So this brings us to the second section, which is a Ashtanga yoga. So what Krishna says here, how one should practice this. See, 11 to 14, he explains. So the basic practices of Ashtanga yoga, he explains that how one should sit down, what is the pose and all that, manner of sitting, and how to meditate after that. So it's not like first you learn to sit. Probably in the Kali Yuga, people can't sit also. All right. Chair also, they get tired. Floor, they can't even sit only. They can't fold their legs. They'll be in big trouble. So now, the first of all, it says, Suchau Desha Pratistabhya Stiram Asanam Atmanaha Nati Ucham Nati Nicham Chela Jana Kushotaram Tatrekagram Manakritva Yada Chitendriya Kriya Pavishyasane Yunjat Yogam Atma Vishuddhaye. So he says how you should sit. Krishna explains. I'll just give you some pointers here. So he says, first of all, Suchau Desha. Suchau Desha means don't sit anywhere. Only Shuchau Desh. Shuchau Desh means clean place. Now, what is this clean place? Clean place is not that you vacuum the place and sit. Clean place means auspicious place. So what is that auspicious? So the Shastra says the cities are not auspicious. Too much of passion and ignorance in the cities. So that is how you should go to the place which is very sattvic, mode of goodness. That is why people used to go to the forest, mountains, in the caves, or at the most you go to some pilgrimage place, some Tirth Dham or some Yatra like that. So first of all, that place itself is very important. And then how you should sit, and then you should put some kusha grass. This is a particular kind of grass. So when you sit there, it repels all kinds of insects. Because you're sitting in the meditation and some reptiles and some bugs are coming and biting you. How you can focus and meditate. So there is an arrangement is made that kusha grass, actually it keeps all these insects away. And then the seat is also, there is a right posture. It should nati ucham, nati nicham. Should be rightly situated. And then you sit down first properly in the right place. And then how to do that? He says, Tatek Tatre kagram manakritva. And then you start focusing your mind. So half closed eyes, close your eyes half. So try this for in the classes, like actually people close the full eyes, they start falling asleep, but it should be half closed. If you open the full eyes, you'll be distracted. If you close the full eyes, then you will go to the sleep. So sometimes you will see people, they go to some yoga classes. They'll just 5 minutes, they sit and they go to the deep sleep. And after half an hour, they'll wake up and say, oh, I'm feeling so relaxed. After getting a good rest, you will feel the relax. But it has nothing to do with the yoga. It's just a good sleep. Right? So people are getting cheated like this. They're getting confused. So that is why this explains half closed eyes. So you're not distracted also, you're not sleeping also. And then focus on the tip of your nose. So all of this explained here. And then Krishna is saying, Tatekagram manakritva. And then you focus on me. Actually, ultimately, the goal of doing all of this is that Krishna explains in the 15th verse. Let me read this. It says, Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasa shantim nirvana pranam mat samstham adhigachati. So ultimately, Krishna is saying by doing all that, you have to ultimately learn how to focus on me. So these are all the stages. You sit properly in the right place, the right posture, half closed eyes, focusing on the tip of the nose and all of that, control the mind and all of that. How many of us we can do this? Probably somebody can do. I can do. Right? So Krishna is giving the glimpse that how difficult it is. Right? So, and then further he says, okay, this is the process, but there is some obstacle also. So Krishna points out those obstacles. Let us look at that. So Krishna says, 16th and 17th verse, very important verse for all of us, in general also, not only for the Ashtanga yogis. He says, Natyasnatastu yogosti, na chekantam anasnataha, na chati swapna silasya, jagrato never charjuna. There is no possibility of once becoming a yogi, Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So this is the obstacle. You have to eat the right amount. Now, when too much and too little, it's not about the quantity only, but Krishna talks about the variety also. So you cannot, it should be very simple food if you really want to become a yogi. So if you eat too much, you will be lazy. You will not have the energy because all the energy goes in digesting the food. If you eat too less, you will become weak. And then if you sleep too much, you'll be lazy. And if you sleep too less, you'll be crazy. So it should be, everything should be the right amount. So Krishna explains here 4 things which should be very regulated, not only just eating and sleeping. He mentions 2 more items. So he says in the 17th verse, Yukta har viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta sapnobabodasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So one who is temperate in his habits of ahar, eating, and then swapnabodasya, sleeping, and then viharasya. Viharasya means recreation, enjoyment. Yes, you should have some enjoyment, some fun in life, but it should be very regulated. Life is all about fun. Life has become fun for the people. So that is not the idea. So eating, sleeping, recreation, and your work also. See, nowadays, especially in this modern age, this philosophy is very prominent. Workaholics are glorified. Oh, this person works for 12 hours. This person works for 16 hours. Elon Musk, he doesn't sleep only. So we should also work 16 hours. We'll also become Elon Musk. It's a misconception, actually. Nobody can become rich or whatever. You cannot get extra by working hard. It's very important to understand. It's a big trap. People think if I work hard, I do extra work, some overtime, I'll get extra. No, you cannot get. He said, no, but Prabhuji, we can refute your statement. If he works 8 hours, we get the salary. If he works 10 hours, we get the overtime. Some extra money comes. The point is, we should understand, it's not about just money. You cannot enjoy which is beyond your destiny. You can get money, but when too much of money, then what will happen? Somebody will loot that money. Lawyers, doctors, police, wife. One divorce and there's a 50% you give. That is what happens in this modern age. The person is working hard. making a lot of money, is happy. My bank balance is going high. Suddenly one notice comes by, want to take the divorce. And then notice will come, okay, now party or whatever earnings. So see, you cannot have much. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm getting a lot of money, I'm getting this, that. And sometimes people say, no, but Prabhuji, actually earlier we were having like a small house, small car. Then I thought I'll work hard, got a big house, got a big car. So now we have the luxurious life. So you can say that we cannot, by working hard, cannot have more. Please understand, your quota of enjoyment is fixed. Now you can change the type of enjoyment, the varieties of enjoyment. So you had to add, say, X amount. So X amount you can enjoy by eating some good food. X amount you can have some good relation in the family. X amount you can have some going out and all of that. But beyond that, you cannot. So you say, my enjoyment is a lot of money, but you will be sacrificing on your relations in your family. Why will not listen? She will be keep complaining. What is this person? Doesn't care for us. Kids goes crazy. They won't listen to you because parents are not able to spend enough time with the kids. So you are taking enjoyment is making money, but then you're losing your quota of enjoyment in the relationships. So overall quota remains same only. So this is how it is. So we had to read the scriptures and understand all these concepts. Otherwise, we are all, wrongly trained. They say, and the lie is spoken for a long time and very strongly, that becomes truth. So all are right from the beginning, all of us, we have been told a lie. Lie is money can buy you happiness. This is the biggest lie that we are all told from the beginning. We all believed in that. If I get a lot of money, I can be a happy person. And whole life with this expectation, with this hope, we keep working hard. There's nothing, we are not against money, we are not against any, facilities and all that. But this conception that that will make you happy is the biggest misconception. So Krishna is saying, learn to be regulated in whatever you do. You're eating, you're sleeping, your recreation, and your work. In a regulated fashion, you should do if you really want to become a yogi. Otherwise, you cannot become a yogi. Okay. Okay. And then Krishna explains in few more verses perfectional stage of yoga. There's all technical details. We are not going in that. And then finally, he talks about this very important section of these 3 verses together, the realization of the perfected, mystic yogi. So I'll just, out of these 3-4 verses, I'll read the 22nd verse, very, very important verse. So the person who is already stays on the stage of perfection, and that person is yam labdha chaparam labam manyate nadikam tata yasmin sthito na dukkena guru napi vichaliyate. So that person's stage is, his consciousness is yam labdha chaparam labam. Once you attain that stage of consciousness, then manyate nadikam tata. I don't want anything adik. I'm satisfied. I'm happy with whatever I have. So it brings you the stage of satisfaction from within. Once you already stage that, you reach that stage of perfection. Manyate na adhikam tada. People are always craving, crying, lamenting. Hankering and lamentation, constant. 2 things are going in our life. Hankering for what you don't have. Oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. Once you get, then there's a lamentation. What if I lose this? Tension. You make a lot of money and tension. Income tax, VAT tax, 4 tax, so many varieties of tax. Lamentation. You got 100 rupees, 30, the tax only took away. Then you lament, I got 100, 30, they took away. So this is what is our situation, hankering and lamentation. But the person who already attained, so what is his realization? Manyade nadikam dada. He doesn't hanker or lament for anything, he is satisfied. Yasmin, and then also, Yasmin sthito na dukkena guru napi vichalyate. And that person, na dukkena, he doesn't ever become sad. Guru napi vichalyate. Even in the dukkena, guru napi. Guru means heavy. We discussed. The biggest calamity also comes in his life. Dukkena, guru. Not ordinary dukh. Very big calamity also comes. And na vichalyate. He is not disturbed. He is very fixed. And actually, we have the examples of such people. In our tradition, if you see the example of this Haridas Thakur, right? So he was the greatest devotee of the Lord, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associate. He used to chant 300,000 names of Krishna every day. 3 lakh. 300,000. 3 lakh names. So you might be wondering how do you count 3 lakh? So we chant 1 round of Hare Krishna mantra, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. When we do one mala, we chant 108 times. So in the one mantra, there is 16 names, right? 108 and 16. It comes to 1728. So like that, he used to chant 192 rounds every day. Why do we chant like one round every day? That also we think, can we skip today? Today is Sunday. One day is okay. Every day without fail, 192 rounds he used to chant. Right? It comes to almost like 20 to 22 hours chanting. So that is why his name was Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him Namacharya. So he was born in a Muslim family and he started chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So all his, society and all this, all the Muslims, they became anti. He said, why are you chanting this Hindu name? They complained against the king, right? The Nawab, Jahanshah. He says, look at this. He's a Muslim and then he's chanting some Hindu god. So we should, do something about this. So then Nawab ordered that, okay, punish him. So all these soldiers goes, captures him, and they say, either you give up the chanting, otherwise we'll beat you. He says, I cannot give up the chanting. I'm so addicted to chant the holy name. So they literally took him to the marketplace, and one marketplace, and they're beating him with a whip. At Koda Marna, jisko bolte hain. Beating him literally in the market. One market, second market, third market, fourth market. Then maybe he'll give up after a while. 22 marketplaces they took him. And he is continued to chanting. So Guru Napi Vichaliyat. Yasmin Stito na Dukkena. He is because completely absorbed. He is not in the bodily concept. Right? And after 22 marketplaces, they beaten him up and nothing happened. He was happily chanting. These people got freaked out. What to do with this person? So they started crying. Not that they're feeling sad about him. They're a little worried about themselves. And if we go back and tell to the king, he'll kill us now. That you cannot even, treat one person. So these people, these soldiers, they raise the concern that nothing is happening and we'll be in a great trouble now. The king will actually punish us. So he took compassion on these people now. Those are beating him for 22 marketplaces. He took the compassion. He says, you want me to die? I'll die now. And he died. So these are all interesting pastimes. So he died there. And this person died now. So they took his body and threw in the water. So he was floating like a dead body. And then with the waves, he went to the another shore. He got up and then started chanting again. So what he did was he held his breath. And his body became like a dead body. Just to, save these people. So there was a message, circulated that this person died. They threw him in the water. So these are the great personalities. Those who are beating him up, he's taking compassion on them. And he says, okay, I'll die. So this is the stage. So when somebody reach that stage of perfection, then Yasmin Stito na Dukkena Guru Napi. In the greatest calamity, he is not disturbed. Even we see another example in the Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhishma Dev. So we all know the story that how Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows. Right? Can you imagine the situation if someone small pin pricks? That day we will give up the chanting. Suppose you have to take care of this. We can't chant, we can't focus. Too much pain. Something, just one drop, blood came out. But here is Bhishma Dev, who's lying literally on the bed of the arrows, and he is remembering Krishna. So he's unaffected by all this bodily pain. And he's constantly, he's completely focused on looking at Krishna's beauty. Can we look at somebody's beauty? Nothing will be beautiful if somebody pokes one arrow to us. Nothing looks beautiful then. Right? So these are the great yogis. They're already on the perfect stage. They can do all that. Right? So these symptoms has been explained here. Yasmin Stitana Dukkena Guru Napi Vichaliyat. And now Krishna explained that how to practice all this. So a lot of all these details, again, I'll not go. But one of the very important items which will help us again. So I'm just highlighting some important points here. So all these things we should have some determination without deviation, faith, control senses by mind, give up all material desires and all of that. Talk about the faith, determination, which has been explained in the 24th verse. So Prabhupada explains that if you want to become a yogi, if you want to practice any kind of a spiritual path, one important item is determination. You cannot be like, wishy-washy, like today I'll do, tomorrow I'll not do. Today I'll come, tomorrow I'm not sure I'll come or not. Of course, in the beginning, we are all like that, but we had to become determined at one point. Take some commitments in our life. If we really want to seriously advance in the spiritual life. It cannot be whenever I want, I'll do, whenever I don't want, I'll don't do. Then you are not heading anywhere. And don't just get distracted. I'll go here also, I'll go there also. Just be determined and focus on something. Right? We discussed in the second chapter also. Vyavsayatmika buddhi ekaha kuru nandana. One pointed attention, fixed. So Krishna is bringing about determination. And Prabhupada, I'll tell you this interesting story, brings this story to explain what determination is and how determination helps. So Prabhupada quote one story from the Panchatantra, story of a sparrow, a small bird. And then the small bird laid an egg on the seashore. And with one wave comes and then the egg was taken away in the wave. Now the sparrow, small, tiny sparrow, she was, very deeply impacted, feeling sad. She requested the ocean, please, give my egg back, my child, newly born child. And who will consider that, such a small, insignificant sparrow? So the ocean says, get lost from here. So many sparrows comes like this. I won't care what you're asking. So this sparrow pleaded, requested, and this ocean did not care. Then she became very determined. She says, either you give my egg back, otherwise I'll dry you up. Look at the confidence. And it's not like boasting. It sounds like boasting only, like a small sparrow, how she can dry the ocean. She says, either you give, this is my warning to you, I'll dry you up. So get lost. I have seen some sparrow like this. Right? And she was so determined, she literally started working on drying up the ocean. What she will do? She'll take one drop in the beak, fly somewhere and drop one somewhere. And then fly back, take another drop. Is it possible? It is impossible. It is not possible only. That with this kind of endeavor, that a sparrow can dry the ocean. It is impossible, right? Humanly, it is impossible. But by the special intervention of the Supreme Lord, it is possible. So what happens by seeing this determination of a sparrow, the Garuda, because she belongs to that family, Garuda became pleased. So look at this, such a powerful determination. I should go and help. Now, Garuda is not ordinary personality. He is the carrier of the Supreme Lord. So Garuda comes there and just, it needs this one word, give the egg. And he came and said, please take the egg. So see, that determination, so we may not be able to do with our own abilities. But that determination, that sincerity, that commitment, it attracts Krishna's attention. So that is the secret we need to understand. So it's not everything about my abilities, but my sincerity, my determination, and that will invoke the blessings, the intervention of the Supreme Lord. Then impossible becomes possible. Okay. So now I told this story, very inspiring story. We should understand. In our context, we're talking about the mind control and all of that. Right. So we as a living entity, the soul, and there is a mind. And then, so mind is compared to this like an ocean. And you are like a small sparrow. Mind is taking you, dragging you all around. So, oh, no, please, I want to control. So get lost. I'll tell you what to do. Mind keep dictating. Right? But when you're determined, and what happens? By the Lord's intervention, we'll be able to control the mind. So that is how we should understand. So this determination, one of among all those, different items, I just mentioned about the determination. Like a small child, when he try to, small child learn to walk. So he walks like 2 steps and falls down. And then again he gets up. Then again walks another 2 steps, falls down. Again get up. That's called determination. Keep doing again, falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up. With the determination, you will learn to walk. So in our spiritual life also what happens? We start walking, 2 steps, 2 classes we came, after that gaya. 2 classes were missing. 2 days we chanted Hare Krishna mantra, 1 week gaya. No chanting, we are lost. Because we went on this party, something. So it is like you are walking, falling. No problem. Fall, again get up. Start walking. Again you will fall, again get up. Keep doing this determination. And then one point, what will happen? You will learn to walk without falling. So this is called the Abhyasa Yoga, right? So like that. So Krishna explains, and then Krishna says how to control the mind. So he says, he gives a formula here. So we all wonder like mind control. Krishna is giving some secret here. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram Tatastato niyamyetat atmani eva vasham nayet. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So this is the nature of the mind. Please don't falsely assume or expect that my mind should be completely focused when I chant Hare Krishna mantra. When I come to temple, should be only looking at Krishna, nothing else. Yes, that is our aspiration, but it won't happen from the day one. So what is Krishna saying? Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram. Mind is chanchalam and astiram. This is the nature of the mind. Please accept this. But what you have to do is that yato nischalati. Wherever it goes, bring it back. So when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, right, we all learn all this and we should learn better how to chant the holy name. So you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So what is the best way to chant is you should just listen the mantra. Your mind should not be wandering, thinking or visualizing something. That is the ideal thing, right? But it won't happen. You chant one mantra, mind will be somewhere else. And then you chant another mantra. By the time you chant like full one mala, 108 times, you are already done your world tour. That is the situation of the mind. But no problem. Be conscious. And it goes, bring back. And bringing back, it doesn't mean that it will remain there only. It will go again. So be conscious. So don't do this, called the auto japa, auto chanting. Auto chanting means haath mein mala, holding the beads in the hand, and tongue is vibrating like a tape recorder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Mind is doing something else. This kind of japa also helps, but this is not the ideal way to do the japa, chanting. Right? So Krishna doesn't need the tape recorder chanting. He needs your heart. So we had to learn how to put the heart. So we should be conscious of where is my mind. So Krishna is saying, bring it back. Okay. So this is about mind. Let us talk a little bit more about. Okay, I'll come here. The vision of a perfect yogi. The 30th verse. Very important. Because it's a long chapter, so I'm not covering each and every verse, but I'm giving you the all highlights. So what Krishna says, what is the vision of a perfect yogi? Very important. Says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sache me na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So who is a perfect yogi? What is his vision? He sees everything in Krishna, Krishna in everything. Everything in Krishna, everything, or Krishna in everything. How do we understand? These kind of contradictory things can be, established in the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. It's possible. Just to give you the example. Example is Yashoda Mai showed the universal form. Krishna showed the Brahmanda to Yashoda Mai. So when one time there's a Leela that Krishna was eating dirt and there was a complaint against Krishna and Yashoda Mai trying to check his mouth. Open your mouth, did you eat the dirt? And when he opens the mouth, what she saw was the whole Brahmand, whole universe was there. Okay, so Krishna is there outside, and when Yashodama is seeing the whole universe inside, then in that universe, Yashodama see Krishna and Yashoda also inside. So you see everything in Krishna and Krishna in everything. So that is how we can understand it's possible. So that is the vision of a perfect yogi. Like, okay, more relatable example. He says maybe Krishna showed the universal form to Yashodama. If he shows us also, probably we can also develop that vision. But we can see in our life also. I gave this example earlier also. Say the mother, who is in love with his small child. So when the child goes to school for a few hours and mother is cleaning the house. So mother sees some toys, some, child's belonging and all that. And as soon as she sees all that, some clothes, some toys, some shoes or something, she immediately remembers the child. So similarly, when somebody is already in that right vision, we are in love with the Lord, then we see the things of this material world and you understand everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So when you see a toy, but you understand, oh, this is my child's toy, you remember the child. So whenever we see this material world, all kinds of things, then we understand that, oh, it belongs to my Lord. So you can remember. So in everything you can see Krishna. Stavara Jangam dekhe na dekhe Tara Murti. So there is a verse. He says, a perfect being, a perfect devotee, a perfect yogi, He doesn't see Sthavar or Jangam, like something is dead or something is alive. Whatever he sees everywhere Krishna Spurti. So Krishna's energy only. Yad yad vibhuti massatvam sthitam urjitam ayava. Krishna will talk about that. He says, whatever opulence you see in this material world, Krishna will talk in the 10th chapter. Everything is just a spark of my splendor. So sometimes, oh wow, look at this nature, so beautiful rivers, and then some waterfalls, and some oceans, and some greeneries, and some forest, and all of that. And we get bewildered sometimes. Yes, we can be bewildered. But we should understand that it is just a spark of Krishna's splendor. Krishna is just a spark. You have not seen my opulence. It's just a spark he is showing here. Okay, so like that, that is the vision of a devotee. And after the vision, the actions of a devotee is also explained. The perfect yogi is explained. Now, question comes here. See, Arjuna was thinking, so the vision of a devotee and the action of devotees is equal to everyone and all other is explained here. You see here, sees all beings equally by comparison to one's own self and considers others' happiness and distress one's own. So says he sees everyone equally. Everyone we can see equally. Can we see the enemies equal to myself? Maybe our friends we can see equally, but enemies we cannot see, right? So this is the concern now, Arjuna. So Krishna has been explaining how to do, what should be the vision, what should be the actions, how you practice and all of that. And now Arjuna is saying, oh, it is very, very difficult. Okay. So Krishna says, this whole process of this Ashtanga Yoga, Krishna, what you've been explaining, it is very, very difficult. That is where exactly the point is coming, that it is not practical. So what he is saying, please listen carefully. Arjuna Vacha, 33 verse. No, I can show this. So Arjuna says, Arjuna Vacha, Yo yam yogas toya prokta samyena madhusudana etasya hamna pashyami chanchalatvat sthitam stiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So after listening all this detailed explanation, Arjuna is saying it is impractical to me. And this is the situation of Arjuna. 5,000 years back when the smartphones were not there, all this social media was not there, all the distractions were not there. And Arjuna is also not an ordinary person. He was a very controlled yogi. He is almost like a yogi person, great devotee of the Lord, personal associate of the Lord. He is saying it is practical. What is our situation? Is it practical for us? Because he is giving the reason. He is saying mind is very flickering. And then in response, so in addition, he says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balabhadradam tasya ham nigraham manye vayur ev sudaskaram. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. So this very statement itself is explaining the power of mind. He is not saying mind is very restless. He is saying it is restless, it is turbulent, it is obstinate, it is very strong. Like it is stressing on that how powerful this mind is to drag me away. It's very difficult to control the mind. So he says, it seems to me more difficult than controlling the wind. So I can control the wind with the power of my arrows. Controlling the mind is very, very difficult. This is the situation of Arjuna. Our situation is worst. We can't even control the mind for a few seconds. And we are working hard in this modern age, control the planets, control the missiles, control the people, political powers, so many things we are trying to control. Our own mind is not in control. That is the irony. Right? So how to control the mind is we can understand from this chariot. This body is compared to the chariot. So look carefully. See, these 5 horses, they are compared to the 5 senses. So what happens, all the senses, the 5 horses, they started running in different direction. One horse is running this side, one horse is running this side. Very difficult to take the chariot in the destination. So our senses are like that. I want to eat this, I want to see this, I want to have this and all of that. So uncontrolled senses like the uncontrolled horses, right? And then the reins is like the mind. So mind is controlled. Mind is supposed to control the horses, the senses. But when this mind is also not controlled, then what is happening? Not able to control the horses, the senses. So that is what is our situation. And on top of the reins, actually, the charioteer, the person who the driver who's sitting, that is intelligence. So intelligence is like if you see the example of a car. So in the car, See, all the wheels say start going in different direction. Your car cannot run. So you have to control the wheels with the steering wheel, but that is also not working properly. There's some problem. Then there's a person sitting, driver. He should be trained how to hold it and how to drive the car and all that. But this person, the intelligence is also corrupted. He's already drunken. He doesn't know where the car is going. So our situation is like that. This intelligence, which is like a driver, this intelligence is already corrupted in this modern age. Our intelligence is corrupted by this, contaminated by this tendency to enjoy the senses, sense gratification. So now the horses are running, the senses are asking so many things. As an intelligence, our intelligence should guide. Oh no, this is not good. I want to eat non-veg. Intelligence should say, no, this is not something which is eatable. You should not eat. This is sinful also. And why you should kill someone just to, satisfy your taste buds. So intelligence should guide. But intelligence, because it is corrupted, it supports. The tongue says, I want to eat non-veg. Intelligence plan how to eat the non. Shall I order online? Shall I go to the restaurant? Do I have the money? If I don't have the money, how to get the money? So your intelligence is supporting all these nonsense things because it is corrupted intelligence. And then finally, the person who's sitting at the back, passenger, which is we, the soul. And the horses are running all direction. Brains are not in control. Intelligence is corrupted. That person, passenger, is having the horrible experience of being in the chariot. This is what is our experience in this material world. So what happens originally, now see the hierarchy. Passenger, who's the owner of the car, the soul, this car or this chariot is like body. So the passenger should give the instruction where the car should go. Instead of the owner is giving the instruction, the wheels are giving the instruction. Look at the situation. The horses in the chariot, they are actually dragging you. So the owner is saying, go this way. They say, no, we'll go this way. Now the owner is weak, poor guy. His intelligence is corrupted. Nothing is working. So horses are dragging in all the directions. This is what is happening. So how to control the senses, how to control the mind is, like I gave another example. You cannot control the car by going and holding onto the wheels. How you stop the car? By applying the brakes. Somebody says, oh, my car is going in the wrong direction. I'll hold on to the wheels and stop the car. It doesn't work. So this is like control the senses, control the mind. It doesn't work. What you have to do is owner or driver at least. They should know how to drive the car. So if our intelligence is rightly trained, what is that right training of intelligence is the scriptures. When we read the scriptures, Gita, Bhagavatam, then we get what is right and what is wrong, which direction we should go, what to do in life. So that is what is the problem is. So problem, we think, oh, senses are uncontrolled, mind is uncontrolled. Problem is intelligence is corrupted. And on top of the intelligence, the passenger is also sitting. The passenger, the owner of the car, he is also drunken. He doesn't even care where it is going. So soul becomes weak. Intelligence becomes corrupted. Then they will drag you in all the direction. And the overall experience will be horrible. This is what happens in the modern age. Right? So we have to purify, we have to train the intelligence. And this soul, the passenger should become strong. He should have the authority. He should have the strength to order, do this. And all of them, the subordinate, they should be able to listen. But when your soul becomes weak, nobody listens. Your mind overpowers, your intelligence overpowers, your senses overpowers. So we have to make our soul strong. How to feed the soul. What to feed? Feed the spiritual food. And that spiritual food is chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So when we chant the holy name and we read Bhagavad Gita, when we attend this kind of discussions, then what is happening? You are feeding your soul. You're becoming a strong owner. Then you can guide what is right and what is wrong. Automatically, everything will fall in place. Your senses will be rightly directed. Your mind will listen to you. Your intelligence will listen to you. So this is the process. So Krishna also, Arjuna is saying that Chanchalami Mana Krishna. It is restless, obstinate, turbulent, very strong. What to do? I cannot control it. And Krishna also in the next verse, actually, he agrees to what Arjuna is saying. He says, Sri Bhagwan Vacha. Now Krishna is talking. And what he's saying is, Asamsham Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasin Dukandaya Vairagyana Chagriyati. So first of all, Krishna actually empathizes with Arjuna. He says, what you're saying is correct. To pacify. Yes, you are right. Mind is like this only. He says, Asham Sham Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam. No doubt, mind is like this only. But I'll give you the solution. Now look at the solution. Solution is here. Abhyas and to Kontaya, Vairagyana Chagriyari. Two words, remember. Abhyas and Vairagya. What is that Abhyas? You are trying to walk, you fall. Again, get up, walk again. Will fall, get up again, walk again. This is Abhyas. This is called the sadhana bhakti. Every day we chant, we take some vows like, okay, every day I'll read 10 minutes Bhagavad Gita. Or every day I'll chant one round of Hare Krishna Mantra. Start. You'll fall, get up again practice. You'll fall again, get up, practice again. So this is called Abhyas. Every day keep doing. And then Vairagya also. Vairagya. So there are do's and don'ts. Do's is practice. Practice of all this chanting, reading, attending the sessions, being in the right association of devotees. This is do's. And then there are don'ts also, which is Vairagya. Vairagya means something. So like when somebody is sick, right? So there is a medicine, there is a prescription, and there is some kind of prohibitions also. Right? You take the medication and some this thing also, restrictions also. Doctor will say, take the medicine daily, but don't eat some fried food or whatever, something like that. So it goes both hand in hand in order to become the healthy. So every day you practice, but sometimes what happens, you'll find yourself that you're chanting, you're reading, but still you're not progressing much. It means you are not taking care of other prescriptions. Some don'ts you're not taking care of. So don'ts are also, so basically there's a lot of don'ts, but 4 are explained. 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit relationship. These are the 4 sinful activities. Make sure that you are completely away from all these 4 sinful activities. So these are the prohibitions. And also, not only just you are actively doing that, away from that, but also be away from the people, those who are indulgent to all those things. Because invariably you will be dragged into all of those things. Right? Sangata sanjayate kama. The kind of association you have, you will be, dragged into that. So don'ts, which is Vairagya, and do's, which is Abhyasa. So Abhyasa is chanting, reading, and all of that, positive things, and then Vairagya of all these don'ts. So Krishna says, if you do this, then you will see gradually you will be able to control the mind. So that is what is Krishna's conclusion here. Okay. Now, after hearing all this description, Krishna accepted, yes, mind is strong. He gave you the solution. Arjuna, another question he asked, very intelligent. He's saying, what if I try to do all this, but if I fail? Or maybe, I start doing, and I did also, but at one point in time, I just gave up that. Then my situation will be like, Dhobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka. Right? Either I could not enjoy the material, pleasure, and I could not attain the spiritual perfection also. So what will be my fate? So that brings to the S. S is success or failure. So is it considered the success or failure? Because I could not attain the perfection. I started walking on the journey, but I could not attain the destination. So what will happen to me? So before I start the journey, I should think, I should not start only or what? So Krishna explains beautifully. It's very, very important actually. It was already touched by Krishna, if you remember, in the second chapter, 2.40. Just go and refer to the words. Krishna explains there, Neha bhi krimanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So what is this? Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya. If somebody does little bit on this path, swalpam, just very little endeavor, trayate mahato bhayat. You will be protected from the greatest danger. And if you remember, we discussed what is the greatest danger in this material world? Economic collapse, recession. The greatest danger is we should know that in this human form of life, if after this life, if we degrade ourselves to animal life, right? If we degrade to the animalistic life, and then we'll get into the cycle of 8.4 million species of life to get the human form again. So this opportunity is lost is the greatest danger. So Krishna explains, Krishna confirms, Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya. If somebody does just little endeavor, it makes sure that you will not fall down. I think somebody should take care of the kids. Very distracting for others. They can play outside. Okay, so Krishna already touched there, and Arjuna is asking again the same question. What will happen if somebody gives up on the way? Could not attain the perfection. So Krishna explains now. Just listen carefully. 3 verses. So what he's saying, I'll read the verses. So he's asking, Arjuna is asking in the 37. Ayati Shraddhaya Upeto Yoga Kalati Manasa Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Tam Gatim Krishna Gachati. Arjuna said, what is the destination of the man of faith who does not persevere, who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? That is the question of Arjuna. What is the answer? We'll see that. So Arjuna is saying that being deviated from the path of transcendence perished like a river cloud with no position in any sphere. This is like sometimes you see in the sky, there's a big cloud, and then a small patch of cloud gets separated. Then it is lost. It is nowhere. It will be lost in the dew gold. So what I'll be like, my situation will be like a driven cloud like that. I'll be lost somewhere, or what will be my fate? So fate of a unsuccessful yogi. That is the question. And then he says, this is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for yourself, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So this is my doubt, and you can only answer this doubt. So this is the question being asked here in the 3 verses. And look at the answer now, what Krishna says. Okay, Krishna's answer. Very important. Listen carefully. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, text number 40, says, Arthaneveha namutra vinasastasya vidyate nahi kalyana kritkashit durgatim tadagashati. The Blessed Lord said, son of Pratha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So nothing bad will happen to you. And Krishna will explain what is that good will happen then. So he never meet destruction either in this life or in the next life, either in this world or in the spiritual world. So Krishna is giving the assurance. Solpamapi yasya dharmasya rayate mahanto bhayat. What will happen? What will be the fate of the devotee? 40 verse, 41. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati sama suchinam srimatam gehe yogo bhrashto vijayate. There is no loss. See what Krishna is saying here? The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planet of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So say you could not attain the perfection. What will happen to you? So he says, Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati sama. Because you already developed a lot of pious credits, punya kritam, because you did whatever little bit. So first of all, if you did for a short time, not for a long time, what is the fate of an unsuccessful yogi who practiced short time? So what will happen? He'll go to the heavenly planets. He'll enjoy the heaven first. And after that, enjoying the heavenly planets, he will take birth in a rich aristocratic family or family of the righteous people. Righteous people means it can be birth in a family of a Brahmana, it can be birth in the family of a Vaishnava devotee. It means you have no struggle in your future because you are born in an aristocratic family. So there is no struggle for existence. It means you are given the opportunity that without any struggle, you can practice again. Otherwise, people, they keep struggling for, 2-time meal and maintaining the family. They probably no time. They'll have enough time. Number 1. Number 2, he'll be born into either Vaishnava family or devotee family. It means from the day 1, you will get the opportunity to practice again. Where you left, you will begin from there. If you could complete 10% in this life, you'll be given the chance to start from the 11th. So you're not lost. It is for your eternal credit. So Arjuna was thinking, what will happen if I fail? No, it is your eternal credit. You can continue from there. Right? And then, next verse he explains, fate of unsuccessful yogi who falls after a long practice, birth in the family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. So it means you will be given the chance again to continue your practice from where you left. So you're not lost. It won't happen in this material world. You work hard from the day one, go to the school, score good marks, go to the college, struggle in college, then find a job, struggle in job, make money, family, this accumulation, this possession, everything, and one day we all die. And then again, start from the zero. This is what happens in this material world. But spiritual credits are not like that. Whatever you want, 1%, 10% of whatever, it will remain to your return of credit. So that is why we say permanent bank account. Please open your permanent bank account. You might be already having a lot of bank accounts, but that bank account will become zero at one day. As soon as you leave, somebody will be fighting against the family members. I want this, I want that. But open one permanent bank account and every day start investing in that account. Whatever you do, little bit, swalpamapi yasya dharmasya, you chant 1 round, 2 rounds, 16 rounds, come to the temple, have darshan, do some seva in the temple, attend the arti, attend the program, listen to the discourses, read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the investment. Every single step is the investment. So that it should come to like full. And once you're done, you're free from all this cycle. So please open this. Those who are not opened this bank account, we can give you more details. We can help you to open this bank account. Right? You already, your bank account is open. You're all sitting here. It's already open for you. Investments is also done. 1 hour investment is already done today. Coming first time.
Big
Right?
basket.
Is gone. Okay.
2-3 சாமான் ஆட் பண்ணிருக்கேன் அப்பதான் அந்த டெலிவரி சார்ஜ் குறையும்.
It has to be in the mute. Krishna, those who are online, you have to be on mute. Please make sure you are on mute. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the chapter. Very interesting end and very, very important to understand. Okay. So Krishna explained, resuming the yoga after getting opportunities in the appropriate families, they begin their yoga practice from wherever they left off. So we discussed all that. And then in the 45, he says that such a yogi ultimately achieves perfection and the supreme goal after many, many births of practice. So ultimately you'll attain the perfection. But that is not the ideal thing, but still you are not a loser. That is the point here. Okay. And that brings to the last section of this chapter. Who is this yogi that we have been talking about? So we talk about the Karma Yogi, we already discussed, and then Gyan Yogi, now we are talking about the Ashtanga Yogi. So what Krishna's conclusion is here, let me read this verse, very important verse. Text number 46. He says, tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo pi mato adhikaha, karmebhyas chadhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. So Krishna is saying a yogi is better than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Krishna, you have to become a yogi. Now, when Krishna is talking about this yogi, he's talking about the real yogi actually. He says yogi is better than the tapasvi. Somebody is doing tapasya. Somebody is practicing Jnana Yoga. Somebody is practicing all this Ashtanga Yoga and all of that. But it is better you be a yogi. First of all, he's saying be a yogi. And then what kind of yogi? We can talk about, okay, I'll be a Karma Yogi. I'll be a Jnana Yogi because I like Jnana Yogi. I like Ashtanga Yogi. So Krishna will clarify. First of all, he says that we had to become a yogi. Okay. And then final verse is this. Very, very important verse. And that ends the first section of 6th chapter. And it gives the connection to the next section of Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga. So what Krishna explains, yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamamadaha. Please take the note of this verse. Krishna clarifies everything. There's no doubt left here. Says yoginam api sarvesham. Now, Krishna has been explained different kind of yogis, but yoginam, among all kinds of varieties of yogis, sarvesham, who's the topmost yogi? Who's the topmost yogi? Madgatena antaratmana. One who remembers me in the heart. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. And with faith, love and devotion, who chants my holy name. Bhaj dhatu comes from, this bhajate means come from the bhaj dhatu, and bhaj means to serve the Lord, serving, seva. So with Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. One who do the seva with lot of devotion and love, and always remembers me in the heart. Madgatena antaratmana. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Same yukta tamamataha. Is the yukta tama. So there is a yogi, regular yogi, Yukta Tara, better yogi, it's good, better, and best. So Tara and Tama. Tama is the superlative degree. So the topmost yogi. So what Krishna says here, concludes the chapter. And of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So which yogi is highest of all? Krishna gave some symptoms. Who remembers me, who chants my name, and all of that. So we understand this is referring to the bhakti yogi, who is a devotee. So the devotee is the topmost yogi. And now this yogi, we saw all that Ashtanga yoga and all of that. We already understood it's very impractical for us to practice. But is the bhakti yoga is also equally impractical or difficult? Bhakti yoga is very, very simple. How to do bhakti yoga? Shraddhavan bhajate yoma. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare. When you chant this mantra, you are already a bhakti yogi. Is it difficult? Even a small child can also practice bhakti yoga. So this is how it is. And Krishna is saying, though it is very simple, yet it is very, very profound, very powerful. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he recommended in this modern age of Kali Yuga, when we don't have any focus of mind, uncontrolled mind, a lot of other problems, the easiest path, but very sublime path is Bhakti Yoga, which is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So please take up this process very sincerely and seriously. Start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and become a topmost yogi. So we are aspiring to become the topmost yogi, not only yogi. We are not interested in becoming a yogi, but topmost yogi. And that is possible by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? So that is what we learn. And that is the conclusion of the chapter here. So with this, we conclude the first section of the Bhagavad Gita, which is Karma Yoga. So we discussed about that. So before we close and we chant one round, I have few announcements. Please pay attention, those who are joining online. So now we completed this first section, and now we'll be starting the next section, which is Bhakti Yoga 7 to 12. So, but I don't want to rush. So what I'm thinking is, so next week we have a big festival in a temple, which is like on Saturday. So we'll not be able to hold the session on the next Saturday. So we are giving the off. Some people are happy already. Okay, a little relax. But off is just to attend the session. But there is a homework. Homework is, see if you have some notes or something, whatever you can recall from your memory, or otherwise read all the translation of 6 chapters and just get some recollection of what we have discussed so far. So that is your homework. And then next Saturday, after the 24th, we'll conduct a quiz for everyone to check whether you really followed your homework or not. Okay, so it will be very simple. If you have heard the classes attentively, anyway, all these things are recorded online. You can go back and rehear again or whatever you want to do. We'll hold a quiz. It will be simple, but it will help you to recollect all the concepts and everything. And after that only, we'll move to the next section. So next Saturday is off from the session, but there is a homework. And then after that, next Saturday, we'll be conducting a quiz, online quiz. So we'll share more details in the group. Those who are not in the WhatsApp group, you can ask our volunteers here. They will help you to add you into the group. Those who are online, you can ask the link. They will post the link, join the WhatsApp group, or anyone in person. You can be the part of the group and take the benefit of it. Okay. And please don't miss, as I said, that the first 6 section and last 6 section, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, they're like 2 breads. Bread also have some taste, but the real taste in the stuffing. Please don't miss the stuffing. We will be now enjoying the jam and whatever butter or stuffing. So that is the middle 6 chapters. So please join without fail and share this word to your friends, family. So if somebody missed in the past, they can join now and they can take the advantage of the whole series of this. I need one mala. Can you give me one mala? Okay, so now let us chant and practice. In the meantime, anybody has any quick question or any comment what we discussed? No questions? I'm not sure it is a good sign or bad sign. But I'll take it a good sign. People understood everything. Okay, if you did not understand much details in this chapter, just remember this last verse. that we have to become the topmost yogi. And how to become the topmost yogi? Now we'll make you the topmost yogi in 10 minutes. Okay, and that will be your investment to your permanent bank.